Hi everyone. So I'm going to do a little bit of something different right now because I have been a little bit ignoring my past lately, and I went through some old stuff and I found like a lot of videos and photos that I wanted to turn into a story that will actually uplift you. So here's the beginning intro bit part. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah?
The dog's happy. Look
Hi.
Look how happy he is.
Say hi to the camera, Togo. He said hi. He raised his hands.
Because he was raised by me.
Anyway.
I'm just getting his dirt and hair on the tree sap on my hands so that I don't get stuck to everything. Anyways, so here is the background to like the clips that you're going to see on the other half of this video, okay? So, here we go. When I was 13, I developed pretty extreme anxiety, and it took me 7 years to find the trauma that caused it. It's a long time, yeah? That was like all my teenage years. So, by the time I was 18, I had yet to live a normal life. I had no job, no friends, and a not so great boyfriend. You understand that, right? Anyways, so I hardly left the house. Well, actually, I never left the house. I hardly left my room. I spent a vast majority of my time locked in my room with the door locked, obviously, and the blackout curtains drawn, soundproof earbuds in my ears, and if I wasn't listening to music or spending time with that not so great boyfriend, I was crying. So I wanted to no longer be on this earth. I didn't want to be alive. It was a feeling I had grown used to, like a constant ache. Come here, dog. Like an ache in your back, but instead of like physical pain, it was the ache to not be here anymore. And so I felt like God had abandoned me, because he would let me panic alone for 6 or more hours at a time, and I would get seizures from these panic attacks, and a lot of people didn't think that it could get that bad. So people were telling me I was being manipulative because I didn't want to go somewhere because I would panic and have a seizure. So that's fun. And my not so great boyfriend would often yell at me and berate me for hours at a time whenever I freaked out, which kind of drew me more into isolation and just kind of like locking everyone out and just pretending that everything was fine when it definitely was not fine. And one February morning, I woke up and looked out the window to see if the snow had melted from the day before. I was pleasantly surprised to see 2 tan bunnies, yeah, that's 2 fingers, in my yard.
She forgot how to count.
Yes. And I assumed they belonged to somebody, and somebody had left them to forage. And so I just didn't pay any mind to it, you know? And over the next few days, the bunnies stayed in our yard. They started burrowing burrows under our porch and having babies. What? Go find a stick. And they started having babies. Where was I? Okay. I have always loved animals and nature. Togo. And so it was cool. So my boyfriend, he found them gross at first, but only joined me for the first time I sat with them because I refused to go outside alone. He like begrudgingly sat next to me when I was trying to check out these bunnies. And it piqued my interest. I spent every day with them from that day on. In March, I decided to try to leave the house like more than just like going out and like seeing them, you know? So I started spending every day out on the lawn feeding the bunnies. Helicopter! Helicopter! Somebody's in the gorge, I swear. It's always when I'm taking videos someone gets stuck in the gorge. Anyways, so I would sit out on the lawn and feed them, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I named them Doe and Buck because they were both a male and a female. And that is what you call male and female bunnies. And I started with only being able to spend like maybe 10 minutes outside at a time without freaking out too much and having to go back in. And by the end of that summer, that 10 minutes grew to 30. I hardly think about this time in my life because it was just so painful. When I looked back at my Bun Bun friends over the other day, I saw something. I saw something that I didn't see at the time. I saw that God had not abandoned me. He didn't leave me. In fact, he was very well aware how close I was to leaving this earth. He sent these bunnies, who I spent the summer caring for, to keep me alive. And they did keep me here. I spent my summer wanting to keep them safe. My entire summer rotated around them. By fall, it appeared, though, that Buck had moved on or passed away. He was replaced with a bunny that looked like his son, him and a wild rabbit, or just a child that he had with Doe that for some reason was Brindle. I called him Spot. Spot started hanging out with Doe instead of Buck, and as winter came, I found it painful to watch the bunnies grow hungry. They could not forage in the rain because of their domesticated coats having no water resistance. I wanted to get a hutch for them, and this is the part that really is why I tried to forget about this time in my life, because it hurt, but I wanted to get a hutch for them. Yeah, but my parents told me to buy it myself, which hurt because I had no job, no money, no career. Therefore, I was forced to watch them slowly fade away. The last time I saw Doe and Spot was in December, around New Year's, right after my definitely very bad boyfriend left me for another girl. I never saw them after that. The last video in this diary is the last time I saw them. I hope watching these videos gives you hope, because when these bunnies came into my life, I was about to end it. They gave me a purpose, just long enough for me to start healing and start going outside with them, and just enough that by the time that they disappeared in January, I started driving. Yeah, this is when I started actually driving. And slowly but surely, I came to where I am today. I own a car. I have this thing. Yeah. And I have you holding the camera who actually cares about me and loves me. And sure, it took 7 years for me to get my own car and kind of where I am now. But like, I had to start from literally nothing. And these rabbits are what started the nothing change, you know? And since then, I've been learning to live again and fighting my trauma bit by bit. And it's not easy. And it's because of those bunnies that God sent that I am here today. But do note that in all these videos, I'm shaking a lot because I was actually that stressed out to be outside with them. It was that scary. I would have to be fighting panic like the whole time I was out there. Okay? And I have come so far today. It has been almost 8 years since I first saw Doe and Buck. And here I am, out in the woods with my dog, that I purchased myself, by the way, with a husband who I flew 3,000 miles by myself to marry. And a life worth fighting for. I have a life worth fighting for now. Because Jesus sent those rabbits to start me moving forward.
Amen to that.
And I did this when I stopped talking to Jesus. I hadn't talked to him for about 7 years at this point, because I thought he abandoned me for that long. And this happened anyways. So, I hope you enjoy these videos, and I hope you remember this testimony and story when you watch them. Thank you.
Are you cold though?